voters. That's not a lot, but the writing is on the wall. Do these numbers spell doom for Democrats this November?
We're going to break this down with our senior advisor to President Trump, Bruce LaBelle. Also joining us is founder and executive director of Latinos for America First PAC, Bianca Gracia. Bruce, do you remember this? I want to get to this soundbite. Let's play it right now.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Ooh, Biden, he won the Democratic South Carolina primary with black voters. That was held last week on February 3rd. Yet just 4% of voters showed up compared to 16% 4 years ago. So why aren't voters, especially black voters, showing up for Biden? And could this be bad for November? I mean, based on what we saw last night with the speech, but taking into account these polls, what do you think?
Well, it's actually going to decline even more. The writing's on the wall. Historically, the Democrats have pretty much controlled the entire electorate as it relates to black voters for many, many decades. The great thing that President Trump has is this winning administration that he had. Black Americans saw how they were, as you say, they were better off under the Trump administration and what they see in the Biden. Also, they see, and thank God for the transitions in the social media world with Elon Musk, because we all know what happened in the last 4 years in terms of them weaponizing the government to go after President Trump, spy on him, lie on him, and control all the algorithms and the messaging and all the major news sources, et cetera. So it was an uphill battle, but a lot of that's come to pass. So this is like, okay, black folks like, wait a minute now, I see my checkbook. I see what's going on. I see illegal immigrants coming across our nation that have not paid in our Social Security system or anything to that matter and getting shown favor. So this buzz is going around. You saw in Chicago where black kids were put out and other migrants put in their spaces and where these taxpayers, black folk are paying in these tax base. So, there's so many lists. We can go down. We can spend another 30 minutes on this topic. At the end of the day, it's not looking good. I call it the Great Awakening.
Yeah, Bianca, we're seeing more and more Hispanic voters also throw their support behind former President Trump. Why do you think that is?
Good morning. Well, we have been with President Trump since 2016 as co-founder of Latinos for Trump. I can tell you that our stance hasn't changed, and it's growing tremendously. And what we understand is the economic difference between Obama, and we knew that we were not in a good place. And so that's why we went with Trump in 2016. And now with Biden in office, we really are feeling the economic difference. Now, the one thing that really is what my colleague over here was saying is the open border. I speak very much against the open border. Our communities are suffering along the border because of the influx of illegals coming into our country. And they're passing through and they're going to every town across the nation. And this is what we've got. We've got an overloaded system when it comes to healthcare and an overloaded system in the education, and it's hurting our American children. So we've gone from America first to America last, and Hispanics know the difference.
Bruce, I want to switch gears here. Joe Biden decided to skip the interview before the Super Bowl this Sunday. It's expected that up to 200 million people could watch this game. How big of a missed opportunity is this? And are we going to see another Biden basement campaign like we saw in 2020?
Yeah, all the above. Listen, he's not going to. It's actually getting bad. It's so unfortunate. But listen, I'm an old school, church going brother that, look, you reap what you sow. You know, and what you did, how you colluded with the government to spy on President Trump. You know what you did in terms of weaponizing the DOJ and trying to stop President Trump from running again. So this is one of those, once again, another awakening. And it doesn't look good. Obviously, you see his cognitive skills. And look, you saw even the DOJ says, well, he's too old and frail to stand trial. What does that tell you? And you saw the release of the documents. I said this a while ago, 6 months ago, that I really believe that they're going to turn the heat up and then Joe is going to have to transition out. I don't even see a pathway of him even being the nominee for the Democrats here coming up.
Bruce, do you think that they purposely didn't have him do that interview, knowing that what we saw last night Do you think that that's the reason why Joe Biden's not doing that interview? Is they don't trust him to give a good interview? One more gaffe, that could be it.
Well, they'll shoot him up with B12. There's a moment in a time window when they do this to making sure his cognitive skills are a little higher, if you might say that. So this is the largest scale of viewers out there, and it's a platform to ask for that vote. And for him not to do that, to your point, I really don't believe that he's going to make it as the nominee. And I know there's a lot of folks, as I call it, in the bullpen, waiting to replace him. It might be even at the convention. But from a mental state and health, they're going to transition. And like I always said, to cover up all the dirty dealings with him and his family, and you saw what happened. Oh, he can't stand. Oh, we'll just let him drift off into the sunset and move him out of the way. And that's what they're getting ready to do. The Democrats are starting to circle the wagon on Joe Biden themselves. Watch what I tell you.
Yeah, Bianca, just about 20 seconds left. But I want you to elaborate a little more on what is really resonating with Hispanic voters this election cycle.
It is the economy and the open border. That is what's resonating. I hear across, block walking and stuff. I talk to voters all the time, every day, and they said they're worried about jobs. They're worried about the open border. They're worried about the, increasing crime rate around the cities. And that is what's really concerning America, and it's going to concern Hispanic communities and all communities. And so we need Trump back in office, and we're going to put him there. If you see the numbers, we're climbing, and we're going to get it. It's a growing number. And by November, we're going to see a big victory, and I think minorities are going to come out in growth.
All right, Bruce, Bianca, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Yeah.